Conservative Voices Silenced. I'm Christine Sposato, and I'm excited to be your guide through the stories that matter. Stories of resilience, strength, and triumph in a world that doesn't always make space for conservative voices.
And I'm Elizabeth Smith, joining Christine in this journey. We know how it feels when your beliefs seem to be drowned out by the noise. But here on this podcast, we're turning up the volume.
That's right, Elizabeth, and we're creating a space where conservative voices can speak their truths, sharing the challenges they've faced and the victories they've celebrated.
Conservative Voices Silenced is not just a podcast, it's a movement that recognizes the diversity within conservatism and gives a platform to those who felt marginalized.
So whether you're a conservative looking for reliable stories or someone curious about the experiences of those with differing viewpoints, you're in the right place.
Get ready for an engaging ride as we dive into the trials and triumphs of conservatives navigating a progressive world. We invite you to join us on this journey of discovery, understanding, and most importantly, amplifying voices that deserve to be heard.
This is Conservative Voices Silenced, where silence ends and the conversation begins.
We're starting today with our first guest. I am extremely excited about this guest. His name is Raymond Lott, aka the Marine Rapper, aka TMR. He is a multi-billboard charting recording artist. I'll get there, I promise. His music is heavily influenced by metal, hip-hop, country, and his service as a U.S. Marine from 2004 to 2014, where he completed 2 combat tours and 1 deployment to Africa, earning a combat action ribbon in Iraq. In February of 2021, the Marine Rapper achieved his first Billboard #1 hit single featuring on hip-hop artist Topher's track, The Patriot. That's one of my favorites. In October 2021, the Marine Rapper achieved his second Billboard #6 hit single featuring on hip-hop artist Topher's track, Let's Go Brandon. If you haven't heard it, you need to. In November 2021, the Marine Rapper achieved his third Billboard #7 hit single featuring on hip-hop artist MJ Hank's track, I Left My Home. That's also a good one. So I'm going to let him in now.
All right.
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you as
Thanks
well.
for being here.
Of course. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you're doing great. Well, this is exciting to have you on. Your experience is amazing in so many areas. Where do you want to start? What do you want to start out telling us about?
I mean, wherever you want to start at, but basically, I'll just start with a brief introduction of myself.
Please do.
So I go by the name Marine Rapper because I spent 10 years in the United States Marine Corps as a combat correspondent, basically a reporter for infantry battalions over in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I was taking pictures and writing stories on those guys overseas. Still a Marine, because people always ask me, were you a Marine? I was like, yeah, I was a Marine. It's just we have different jobs. So if you ever saw the movie Full Metal Jacket, that would be what I did. I was basically Joker. I was the Matthew Modine. I was the guy who was attached to the unit, taking pictures while people were shooting at us and things like that. So that's what I did. So most of my adult life, I've been writing stories on heroes, and sending them back home. And whether it was a patrol, whether we're in a Humvee or aircraft, those were the type of stories that I wrote. I've also had to write, memorial stories and things like that were also very important. After I did my service of 10 years, I got out, I used my GI Bill, and I learned to be a music producer, as well as recording artist. And then that's where I found my sound in school. I just merged the two loves I have for hip hop music and rock music, and I mashed them together with my personal experiences of being overseas and being in the military and seeing what's going on in the country. And then my first song I ended up getting showcased by Apple Music because I was talking about how it was to be a military veteran to come home and be criticized because of my race. They're saying, hey, how could you be patriotic and a black man at the same time in America? So I just addressed all those things, and that was my first big hit. It's called Star Spangled Banner. Um, Around that time, there was a lot of criticism of the Star Spangled Banner because of its third verse. It has histories in racism and talking about, you know, my ancestors being slaves and things like that. And then it's like,
Right.
how could you have that happen in America and still serve the country? So I address all those things, just raw, no holds barred type of song, and that's where I first got my first start in music. And then after that, the rest is history. We ended up getting Billboard charts. One of them is a very popular song called "The Patriot," #1 on Billboard charts.
Wow.
And then I just been mentoring other artists ever since, and then putting out very important songs that relate to the veteran, military, and military supporter community. I just released a song this Veterans Day called "Thank You for Your Service." A video, actually. It's a video to the song "Thank You for Your Service." It's basically addressing homelessness, suicide, military sexual trauma, which is rape in the military, and also drug and prescription drug addiction. So I've done a lot of stuff in my life as far as the military goes, but I feel like I owe it to the troops who didn't come back that I address these important issues, such as the things that I spoke about earlier, to pay it back, because I feel like I got a chance at life because they saved me. You know, a lot of those guys aren't here. If I feel like in a way they took my place. So who am I to come back and squander that opportunity here in the United States and not fight for the rights of the people here and fight for the rights of the military veterans and the supporters as well. So that's where we're at today.
Wow. That's a lot. Thank you for your service.
No, thank you.
Yes.
We appreciate that.
I'm representing today.
Oh, I love it. Oh, you got the the custom merchant. Wow, you have all the merchandise there.
Yeah.
I love to see it.
That's great. How did you make the transition coming back? You said that you got a lot of pushback and criticism. How did you make the transition from getting from the military to the music? And what was that journey like for you?
Well, I've always been a storyteller. I've always been a creative. When I was a young kid, I've always wanted to be an animator for Disney because I love the movies they used to put out, in the early days, the VHS cassette tapes, the squishy one. You know what I'm talking about? The squishy ones, and Little Mermaid and Aladdin and all that. I was like, wow, you couldn't wait to open it up. And then it was soft, which was very smart when you have kids. But I love those tapes, and I always wanted to be a cartoonist and an animator. As when I was young, I used to draw cartoons, and even my signature, I mimicked Disney. Like I did the Disney D, but I made it into an R for Ray, and then I would sign my name everywhere I went like that because I've always wanted to be an animator, always wanted to be a creator. Also, another cartoon that I loved was the Ninja Turtles. Which started out as a comic book. And when I was like 5 years old, I would draw Ninja Turtles. And then my mom was like, wow, you're good for like a little kid. And then she would enter me in art contests, and they didn't know I was a little kid, and I would win. I'd beat adults. And I've always wanted to be an artist. I always want to be a cartoonist. So even when you see my stuff these days, you'll see cartoons and things like that. It's because I'm a fan of the animation style. I'm a fan of cartoons. I'm a fan of anime. My daughter is a manga artist. She's better than me. She draws the Japanese style manga. It's called manga when it's not in motion, but when it's in motion, it's called anime.
Yeah.
But when you just see the still images, it's called manga. I had to learn that. The kids had to teach me that. But even my daughter's an artist. So we come from a long line of artists. So I swore up and down I was going to be an artist. I didn't know that I would make the transition to lyricist form of artistry until later on, because I wasn't really writing a lot until I got to the Marine Corps and they made me a journalist by accident, which I'm going to tell you in a second.
Wow.
But I started to write a lot of stories about these troops overseas and things like that. And then I was always telling stories, and I thought, hey, why don't I start putting these stories into a lyrical form over music? And I wasn't that good as far as like a musician. I didn't understand all the nuances. Like people don't understand to be a great musician, whether it's, a singer, rapper, or you play the guitar, whatever it is, you have to realize even if you use your voice, you have to use it as an instrument. So your voice has to be an instrument. You have to know how to stay in key, even if you're rapping. That's why you'll hear me. If you hear any of my songs, I'll drop in different keys and registers and stuff like that. Even if I'm rapping, I'll do double time. I'll go fast. I'll go slow and stuff like that. But I had to learn that. And that was only after I got the GI Bill and I was able to go to school for that, after I learned that, I can actually do this music thing. But the transition came because I felt like I started to see like military artists, and I don't want to be a military artist, but I didn't see any military rappers. So I was like, let me do that. And then it was the smartest thing I've ever done, because I ended up influencing a whole bunch of people. I've been told by, like, they actually have rappers in the Army now. I've been actually told by other people that I influenced all that. And you see it. I'm definitely not the first like military rapper, but I feel like I'm kind of like the Jay-Z of it, like commercial, like, you know what I mean? I was like, let's turn this into a business. Let's be commercial, man. I don't want to be a poor starving artist. I want to like, I still am lyrical. Like I like, Andre 3000 from Outkast. I like, I like Johnny Cash. I love lyricists. So it doesn't matter what type of music it is. I really got into country music when I was overseas, because the percentage of black men in the Marines is very small. Like most of them are country boys. Yeah. Most of them are country. Most of them are country boys who like to shoot. So I stuck out like a sore thumb. Like, there's no, like, in the Marines. In the Army, there's a lot of black men. But like in the Marines specifically, like if you look at the statistics, it's like mostly white, Hispanic, then black, and then the officers are mostly Asian. If we look at the statistics across the military, just recently there's been more females that have been able to join the ranks of the more combat arms like artillery, and you'll see that the females have definitely stepped it up when it came to those professions and things like that. But basically, I went on a caveat, but basically I got into the creative side of being a lyricist, a military lyricist, was because I saw that there was a need to tell these stories, as well as I felt a sort of survivor's guilt, so to speak. I felt like if I'm here, why would I not tell their stories? Because I honestly feel that I was not the most badass Marine. I wasn't like Rambo. Don't get it twisted. I, in shape, can shoot like every other Marine, expert shooter, all that type of stuff. But like in my mind, you see somebody else, you kind of like, oh, wow, they're better than me or whatever. You think you have a different perception of them. So I always had a different perception of other people. And I'm like, man, that's one badass Marine. And then like, man, how did he get killed instead of me? And I didn't feel like I was as cool as that guy, So I'm like, man, I owe it to that guy who got killed. I mean, I actually have a direct story about that. I was supposed to go out one day with patrol. It's called a mountain patrol when you're in a Humvee. I was supposed to go out in this patrol, and I didn't go out that day. And I would have been sitting in that Hummer in that same spot, and instead another guy went and he got killed that day. And I know I would have been that guy in that spot that day. So who knows if I would have got killed that day. So I feel like situations like those were like wake up calls, so to speak, to realize my purpose is a storyteller, is a lyricist, and in the form of carrying on the legacy of these great, brave heroes that passed away in the line of duty. So that's how I got involved in the military and music mashup world.
Wow. You mentioned having survivor's guilt. Do you see that in a lot of our veterans that come back who had experiences that, like you just described, I would have been there that day, and that would have been me. And how do they cope with that?
Well, yeah, I talk about it all the time. I mean, I put it on in my social media and stuff. And yes, so to answer your question, absolutely. The survivor's guilt, the imposter syndrome, it's crazy. It's like, how are you? Imagine you go on a double date, with you and your buddy, and right before deployment, you guys all go out to dinner, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna bring him back. Dave is coming back with me. You know what I mean? I promise. I swear to you. And imagine you guys both go to battle, but only one of you guys come back, and you have to explain to that guy's wife that he's not coming back, and you feel guilty. Like, what could I have done? You understand what I'm saying? So it affects the family. So it's like, now I have to live with the fact that I couldn't bring Dave back. Obviously I'm just, making up a name because I wouldn't expose a lot of these names and things, but I know how it feels. I know a lot of other vets know how it feels. I've, talked to many vets. Yeah, there's lots of vets out there, lots of military, male and female, who go through this survivor's guilt and imposter syndrome. Like, could I have done more? I'm not a hero. If I was a hero, I would have brought him back. Or why did he not come back? Why did I come back? I didn't feel like I should be back. Things like that, there's also the spouse's side. The women are like, why couldn't you bring Dave back? Things like that. They're angry, they're mad, usually they get over it and things like that. But you have to deal with all these emotions when you get back, after doing something very hard, it's kind of like,
I imagine that your music probably has a lot of healing messages for the other vets that are coming back, because you have experienced it. Yeah.
A lot of people say it's cathartic. I had a guy on my live the other day tell me that. He said, hey, man, I don't know where I would be. It gets me through the day. But I've also had the positive side to it. I literally have had people join the Marines or the Army because they listened to my song. They literally said that. Like, I had a guy DM me. He says, hey, man, like, you inspire me so much. I signed up for the Marines. And he signed up for the Marines, and he's like, hey, I'll message you in 3 months. Right when he got back from boot camp, he messaged me in 3 months and said, hey, I did it. I'm a Marine now. I'm like, man, I'm so proud of you. Another guy who comes on my live a lot, his little brother, his name's Trevor. He was like, hey, I'm joining the Marines. And I was like, hey, how did you? And then he was at boot camp. Then he got back. I said, hey, how'd you get through boot camp? He's like, I listened to your song Semper Fi.
Wow.
The whole time. And I was just like, what? You know what I mean? And I'm just rapping, and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm making a song. I feel like, in a way, it feels like selfish. Like, oh yeah, I want to make a song and put it out and make it get on the charts and stuff like that. But like, it's bigger than that, because I have great stories like that people come back and say, hey, thank you so much for making that song. Thank you so much for getting me through this hard time. Over this last Veterans Day weekend, I've had people say, one veteran, she told me, she said, hey, I was listening to your song for 6 hours straight while I was running. Like, the same song over and over again. Because I actually do make music specific. When I'm in the studio, I actually think, hey, how can I make it a pace to where it helps you run? Like, my song Semper Fi, I actually rap it like I'm running. I'm like breathing while I'm doing it. So it's like, I'm trying to mimic these military cadences and these breaths and stuff like that. So once you listen to when you go back and listen to those songs, you're like, oh, he was breathing. Oh, he was doing it like he's doing cadence. Like, like I'll do cadence. When I make sounds, and I learned that from music school. I learned I have to be in key. I learned I have to have something that's going to catch the listener's ear. Like, in the military, we'll do marching cadences like left, right, like that, right? Yeah. And I was, that's why, our song is like, I left my home. Like, we'll sing it, but we'll do it in a way that it sounds like you're marching. And then so like when you're listening to it, you're like, wow, why is it keeping me on beat? Why is it keeping me motivated? It's because we mimic those military styles.
Brilliant.
So there's been good.
Wow.
There's been cathartic healing properties, but there's also been the positive side of motivating people and actually recruiting. Like
Wow.
in my new song, I say I recruited more people than Uncle Sam. Like because rappers brag and this and that, And I've been told your music has done it. It got me and they're like, oh, I've already made up my mind. I heard a song. I'm gonna join. Like,
Wow.
So the recruiter doesn't have to do much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I've had recruiters all my life. Actually say, hey, get on there, and I've got on there and I've said, hey guys, how you guys doing to the kids at the recruiting station, and they were pumped. And they said that, oh, it gave me that extra push I needed, because they're like, hey, if you can join the Marines and do all of that, go to war, come back, and still go to music school and use all the benefits that they give you. If you guys are listening right now, definitely want to get your VA benefits and definitely want to get your school benefits. Yeah. Just if you're listening, want to do that. But those are important. Yeah, sometimes you have to fight, and I'll fight with you. And sometimes those individuals at those establishments need a little fire underneath their butts to get those benefits for you guys. But those are good benefits to get if you can get them. I got all my benefits. I got my health benefits. I got my my school benefits and stuff like that. And once I was able to do that, I was able to motivate these young guys to join our forces. Because I also want to talk about that. I seen an article the other day that said the reason why our military is failing in recruiting is specifically because it's directly related to patriotism for the country. So if I don't love my country, if I'm not patriotic, if I don't value where I live, why am I going to go fight for it? Yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have seen a decrease in patriotism, which we have seen, right? Correct.
Oh yeah.
and you go, wow, why is everything failing when it comes to recruiting? Why does it seem like the recruiters are bending? Why does it seem like the military is bending when it comes to standards? Oh, we'll take you now. It doesn't matter if you have this or have this.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, they did change their standards, but I don't think it was in a bad way. They're like, hey, jail or military? Because I don't think that was think that was a bad thing. And I'm not saying everybody who is supposed to go to jail should go to the military, because there are some real criminals. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some guys who make mistakes, and because we all make mistakes. Right. There are some guys who made a mistake, and they're hardcore guys that we do need in the military, because military isn't for weak people. Military needs men, real men, like masculine men to handle business. So we don't need to bend our standards to fit weak people. And when I say weak, I don't mean in any demographic. I'm just specifically saying, hey, if you're strong, if you're willing to fight, we need you. If not, we don't need you. Military is not for everyone. It is not. I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen big people who you think would be strong. They weren't. They folded. I've seen people drop their rifle in the middle when we're on patrol. I've seen someone drop their rifle in the middle of the desert and started crying. I've seen that. And I've seen people duck and get on the ground, people who you would think that would be the ones to save. I'm 170 pounds. I'm 5'11". So I'm like built like Obama, right? Like I'm like a lanky black dude, right? But the only reason I snapped into action was specifically because, and I got an Obama story for you later, 1 second. But I snapped into action because I was just trained. I was like, I don't want to get shot. Who wants to get shot? Like, it just was like in my brain, I was like, I don't want to get shot. So I'm going to duck. Like, I'm going to duck. And if they shoot at me, I'm going to shoot them. Like, it was just that simple. It's common sense to me. Like, if, when we're over there, if they're trying to show peace, I'm trying to show peace. We're handing out soccer balls. We're doing nice stuff. We're handing out candy to kids. Like, I would say 95% of the time while we're over there was like humanitarian.
Wow.
One of them was, you think humanitarian, but also dangerous when you're handing out books to the kids over there. Women ain't supposed to learn, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like stuff like that. So imagine it's a humanitarian thing, but we had to cordon off the area with barbed wire, and we had to have security outside of a school. And people here are complaining about smaller things in schools. You get what I'm saying? Or the flip side, people are willing to fight for their schools and for their children. Right? That's another thing. You know, I'm pretty sure you guys could chime in on those things. But like, it's just like, we are so fortunate to have what we have today in the United States of America. So why wouldn't you fight for it? Why wouldn't you stand up and fight? It's because they have a lack of patriotism, and that leads to a lack of recruitment and a lack of community and unity. Because the thing is after you join the military, you come back a better citizen, and then you contribute to the community. Mm-hmm. If I'm just laying around smoking weed or whatever, I lived in Cali. I was like a 19-year-old punk smoking weed or whatever, skateboarding. Like, I was just like, you know, I got to be real with it. And then I was like, man, I got to get off my butt, man. I got to go do something. And then I went to the recruiter. I was done working at Taco Bell. I used to work at Taco Bell as a rapper. Like, I was wrapping up burritos and tacos. I was literally a rapper. And I was like, man, I'm tired of being, I felt like I was Shaggy from Scooby-Doo or something. I mean, I was like, man, I got to get my life together, man. And then I got my life together. But you can't get your life together if you don't have those mentors. You don't have those great adults, those great citizens that teach you and show you the way. If media and politicians are showing you nothing but compliance and weakness and just go with the flow and to be a follower, you're never going to stand up for your community or your family to be, you know, husband, father, brother, sister, mother. You know what I mean? You're not going to stand up. You're not going to know how, because if you don't raise your kids, if you aren't a leader in your community, someone else will be. And that's not going to be that person who you want to do it. And that's not going to be the way how you're going to want your community to go. So that's why it's so important that we have brave young is very important that we have brave young men and women to go serve for this country or serve here. You know, not everybody has to be in the military or combatant, but serve here somehow. Nurses, teachers, doctors, something. Stand up. Don't stay at home, play video games, you know, smoke weed, do drugs, be a victim, all these things. And the reason why I could say this is because I've been there. I've done that. I grew up off of welfare. I grew up off of Section 8. I slept in rooms of other people's houses, you know. Now I'm in my own house, my own studio, you know, but I had to work for it, you know. You know, you may see somebody like me, or somebody might see, oh, you don't know, be like, you have no idea. I'm one of 5 kids. All the odds were against us. My brother's a doctor now because and he's an author too. And, you know, and we're all successful. My sister, she's one of the only female fabricator. She's like a Rosie the Riveter type of character. My other brother is a personal trainer. He lost half his body weight. He's a fitness model now. And my other brother is going to school to be an X-ray tech. You know what I mean? So like, but we come from welfare. Yeah. What's our excuse? None. My mom said, you have no excuse. We live in the hood, but that doesn't mean anything. If you want to get out, you can. And guess what? We did. So I feel like you need those great leaders to tell you whether you were raised with money or not raised with money, military family or not military family, that you can make it. It doesn't matter where you're at. I know people. I have a buddy. He was raised with money, but his dad kicked him out. Said, "This is not your money. This is my money." You know what I mean? Like, just because he's like, people might think, oh, because I'm a white guy and I was raised with money, I'm good. No, I got kicked out. I had to make it out on my own because he did not want me to be spoiled. Yeah. Like, you know, there's all types of demographics that still have to work. So I feel like we need those individuals out there to show everybody how to work hard, how to make our community, and how to make America better. But what are you going to say, Christine?
I have a question. You know, you were talking about patriotism and that it's hard to recruit people into the military if they're not feeling patriotic. I've heard that as well. You know, what's the point of patriotism? I don't get it. It's such an old-fashioned concept. What's your answer to that in the folks that you've worked with? And, you talked about motivating young adults to get involved in the military for different reasons than just patriotism. What are those reasons, and how do we activate them to tap into that part of them that wants to make a difference and do something? And maybe it's not for the old-fashioned just patriotism.
Wow, that's a great question, and I think you just inspired a new song.
Yay!
Yeah, no, seriously. I if I was in charge of recruiting for the military of all branches, what would I do? I would definitely use media.
Yeah.
I would definitely use art. I would definitely use music. I definitely use video games. However, I would do it in a way to where, hey, if you don't do it for this reason, you can do it for another reason. If you don't do it for patriotism, do it for your mom. If you don't do it for your mom, do it for discipline, because you need to get your life in order. If you don't do it for that, do it for money. If you don't do it for this, do it for that. So just find out I would cater it to the individual and find out what they actually want. But it also has to be the right individual. The military doesn't want everybody and shouldn't want everybody. That's why there's qualifications. That's why you have to go to boot camp. That's why you have to take tests. I would say to an individual is oh, I'm not very patriotic or whatever. Okay, cool. So what do you care about? Oh, I care about my mom. Okay, cool. Do you want anybody to disrupt her household or anything?
Right.
No. Do you want to be able to provide for her? Yeah. Okay, well, we can offer you the opportunity to do that. Serve your country. At the same time, you're going to be making money. At the same time, you're going to get in shape. So if somebody tries to physically harm your mom, you will be in shape to beat them up, whatever. You know what I mean? Just relate to them. The thing is people are people, and that's never going to change. They could say patriotism is old fashioned, but people are forever. So I can say, you could say or do anything, but people just want to be related to. People want to be heard. People want to feel accepted. There's simple things that it's psychology. There's simple things that people want. There's a hierarchy of needs for a reason. So it's hey, I want food. I want shelter. I want clothing. Okay, now what do you want? Now I want companionship. Now I want friendship. Now I want kids. That's why it's a pyramid. Hierarchy of needs. So it's okay, cool. So how can we help you fit those needs or protect those needs or get those needs? How can we help you do that? And that's how I would revolutionize the military recruiting world and solve the military crisis.
They should hire you, because that really is brilliant.
I actually have, I know for a fact I can, and I think Elizabeth can tell you, she's probably seen on my live or whatever, people have literally joined because of me, period.
They have.
They've said it.
Mm-hmm.
They've told me. They said they had said it. Literally, the Army has Army rappers now, right? And they have said they have taken pages from my playbook on making military music, literally. So it's kind of they should, but then it's crazy. It's when you want somebody's attention, because they have something that you want or you want to be a part of. You're like, oh man, I want to be in this club. I want to be in this club. I want to be in this club. Mm-hmm. Then they don't let you in the club. So you make your own club. Then they're like, okay, you can be in the club now. I'll be like, no, I know how to make the club. I don't want to be in your club now. So it's kind of I already know how to do it. So if I wanted to, I could push a button and be like, oh, I want to make a song to affect somebody's heartstrings. That song, Thank You for Your Service. I cover military sexual trauma, and I don't know if any at all, if there's a military rapper who rapped about the sexual abuse that females go through in the military. I'm pretty sure I'm the first one, period.
Right.
Because a female told me, she said, I want you to rap about it. I said, okay. And I put out the song, Thank You for the Service. And I didn't show anything graphic, but you can get the idea. You saw the video, Elizabeth, I think. But yeah, I put it out there, and I wanted people to, realize that that's happening in the military. Also, another thing that's not talked about, I went live with this guy. It's military sexual trauma to men. That happens a lot. Men on men. it's a way to dominate another man, and it makes them, feel weak and embarrassed and stuff like that. And I had a man on the other night, and he was like, it was hard for me to come forward to talk about this, but I knew when I came forward, a lot of other men would say, hey, you know what? I did get raped too in the military, and let's talk about it. I'm not going to let the rape affect me, because people want to talk about, the female rape, which is important too, but they also need to highlight the males who get raped in the military as well, because it does affect our forces.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Oh, I was just going to bring up the biggest impact was your mom in the Marines. And I know you did a song with your mom, and it was fantastic. What else comes from the inspiration from her? I know there's a lot that inspired you.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't from my mom. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like I'm the anti-rapper, so to speak, because everything I rap about is the opposite of what most rappers rap about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my song, The Patriot, I'm like, I'm going to respect women in this. Like, I'm going to talk about my brother becoming a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about, respecting Black women. I'm going to talk about these things that mainstream rap doesn't talk about. And guess what? I did that, and it was a #1 Billboard hit. So you don't have to disrespect women. So my mom has raised me to look at it through a woman's eye, look at it through a single mom's eye, look at it through a Black woman's eye, because it's crazy, because in America, the most disrespected person is a Black woman. If you look at it, if you just look at the demographics, if you look at the way they set up neighborhoods, they put the Planned Parenthoods, they put Popeyes, they put liquor stores in the hood. That's by design. When you go to Hollywood, where I went to school, do you see Popeyes? Do you see Planned Parenthood? Any medical you see there is plastic surgery.
Yeah. Right.
You commit a crime in Beverly Hills, cops are there in 30 seconds. What is it? You do it in the hood? How long? Who knows?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I feel like we need to look at everything, not just one part of America. There's lots of problems everywhere. There's problems with, fathers. There's problems with men. There's problems with women. There's problems with school. There's problems with medical. It feels like we're being attacked from every angle. Now,
Yes.
I feel like it's very important. I feel like I am an individual that is very important in this whole equation of America in terms of military, because they are attacking our military now. And people, they're trying to bend. As you see the recruiting commercials, they're weak. They're weak. I don't want to join today's military. Are you serious? You know what I mean? I used to, they were doing push-ups and pull-ups and running through mud and all this type of stuff. Yeah. And then they compare our recruiting commercials next to the Russia's, and I'm like, we're in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Like Russia, they're like, what? They're like eating like dirt, like doing like they're lifting like boulders, and like we're just like, hey, I grew up here and this and that. No one cares. I don't care where you grew up. Are you strong? Can you shoot? Like literally, let me tell you something. Like when we're overseas, people talk about like racism and stuff. When we're overseas, we did not care. Hey, bro, do you got my back? Yeah, I got you. That's it. That's all we care. Can you shoot? Yes, I'm good. I got you. You got my back? Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Let's go do what we got to do. Black, blue, red, green, purple. We did not even care. Boy, girl, whatever. Like even females. We have females who were truck drivers. We have females who would do it's called the lioness. I don't know if you heard about them, but they would go and they would frisk down like the women to make sure the women didn't have bombs and things like that. So we had females out there who would do things that we couldn't do because of cultural reasons. Like we can't touch women. We can't, as a man, you can't do that. In some places we can't go because we're a man, because it's women and all that type of stuff. So we couldn't do that. but we had women really come through for us and things like that. But the fact of the matter is we need strong people. We need the right people in the right positions and things like that. So it's very important. I know I went up on the caveat, but like my mom's very important. She comes up. She's the main character in my rap all the time. And she will always continue to come up. I actually have a song that, I dropped the song already, but I'm going to drop a video to it. But it imagines if I didn't come back and somebody else did, and my mom has to deal with it.
Wow.
So, yeah. So like the music that I put out, I wanted to have a huge impact and make people think. And I really want to do more than just put out, a fun song or whatever. I really want it to be a long lasting, forever, eternal song where somebody's like, wow, this gives me something to think about. This is why it's important to love your country. I mean, you can not like things in this country. Like, I still don't like things in this country. Like, I still don't like things in this country. I don't like the history. I don't like, that some people are still stuck in the history. I don't like that. But that's not going to hold me back. Like, I feel like all that is a distraction to divide us, to divide and conquer us and keep us apart. With the whole COVID lockdown thing, that's all it did. It made us look at each other like weird and stuff. And I'm just like, why are you looking at me crazy, man? I'm just getting the apple from the store, bro. Like, what? Like me, like, I don't dress any different. Somebody might profile me or somebody might look at me like this. I'm like, I make more than you. You have no idea though. Like, you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like, I'm not going to steal it or whatever. Like, it's just COVID made people hate each other. And I don't like that. And I'm just like, when I grew up in a melting pot where there was like Mexican, white, Asian, like everybody was around and we all just played and we had fun. And if you're cool, you were cool. Like, you know what I mean? If you weren't cool, you just weren't cool. We just didn't like you. But like, if you're cool, you're cool. Me, I was actually 4'11". I was a smaller dude. So like I got bullied a lot.
Wow.
So like I grew a foot, like, but I was bullied a lot. Like I was like trash can, any like quintessential nerd bullying thing happened to me. Like I was bullied by the biggest guy. He was like 6'6" in elementary, and I was like 4'11". He was like the center on the basketball team. Like, and it was just, now that I think about it, it's pretty hilarious. Like the biggest guy in school would make fun of and bully the smallest guy. It's hilarious now, but it wasn't fun when I was upside down in a trash can. Yeah. But now I look at it, it's just so funny because I just think like those were like some great moments that toughened me up and allowed me to join the military and allowed me to move on and realize that we aren't so different, that we are very fortunate in America, that we need to be grateful. When I'm over there, when people say they're hungry, they're hungry. They are hungry for sure. You give them food, they start eating it right there in front of your face. I was in Washington, I was in Seattle, and I was coming out at an expensive seafood restaurant. The guy's like, I'm hungry. And I had my leftovers, and I think I spent like hundreds of dollars on the seafood. And I wanted to eat the seafood when I got back, right? I was like, man, it was good, but I was full, right? So he's like, I'm hungry. I was like, oh, you are? Here you go. And I handed it to him. He's like, I don't want this. I want money for like food or whatever. I said, oh, really? I reached back, I grabbed the food from him, and I threw it in the trash can next to him. I was like, you get nothing then. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, just say, that's why I like the honest homeless signs. If they say, hey, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to take this $5 and I'm going to go give me a 40. I was like, okay, here you go. You know what I mean? Because sometimes he may need a beer, whatever. But those are the things that I'm talking about. It's just like, we're so blessed in America to have all these things. So that's why I love it so much. So those are my reasons. Those are my why. That's my purpose. I love my mom. I love where I'm at. I don't want to be poor like they are overseas. I don't want to have it look like a third world country. So that's why I do what I continue to do now. And that's why I make the music, to convince other individuals that they should carry on the legacy when we're all gone. So and it all started with my mom, to bring it full circle.
Wow. Ray, your mom sounds just like an amazing and inspiring human being. What a woman. So congratulations for having such a wonderful mother. I'm wondering if you can talk about the resistance of the Black community to see things the way you do, that it's all set up in order to keep them in a victim posture, so they don't thrive, so they don't hear the messages that your mom shared with you. You can do this, you can get out of here, you can overcome it. Why is it that in general the Black community is just not willing to hear that or believe it?
I don't think the Black community is not willing to hear it, but I feel like they have too many people in their ear. So let me explain. Malcolm X said it too, like about the white liberals in their ear, like, you need to do this. I mean, you need the white liberals in everybody's ear is like white liberals in white conservatives' face, like, oh, you need to leave the Black people alone. Like, no, we didn't say anything, nor do we want you to defend us. Also, we're grown people. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, Malcolm X has been saying it. Malcolm X said it back in the day. It's been said all the time. It's happened throughout time. There's too many people in the kitchen trying to be in the pot. Nobody needs to do anything for the Black community but the Black community. Everybody's in their business. Like, yo, like, nobody asked you to be in here. Nobody asked you to put this Planned Parenthood here. Nobody told you that. Nobody told you to be in our business, to lock up our dad. Now, so let me paint the picture for you. Listen, this is how it goes. So they put all these laws in effect, right? That they know will get Black fathers in trouble, a grown Black man in trouble. You lock him up, put him in jail longer than he needs to be for like weed or something, which is stupid. Like, we can go into the whole, our vice president stuff, but that's a whole nother story. But like, you lock a Black man up, you take away the father, the strong father figure. Now there's a single mother in the home with adolescents or young kids. What is she going to do? What would you do if now you're like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to do whatever I need to do? When you go to the job interview and they don't want to hire the Black woman, right? Even though she's qualified, you may say she's overqualified. What can she do? Oh, I guess I have to go on the welfare line and go get the food stamps, right? Mm-hmm. I'm stressed out. But I'm stressed out now because I'm still trying to find work, but I can't find work. It's hard. I'm tired. Instead of cooking, I'm gonna go to get some fast food real quick. I get addicted to this fast food. What's that? Popeyes right down there. Okay. Then, I'm trying to get a father for my kids or whatever, or I start dating somebody. Then I get with another guy or whatever. He doesn't want to keep the baby. What do? I can't go through this again. What happens? The government or white liberal or somebody in their ear saying, oh, just have an abortion. It's fine. It's healthcare. Right. And then it ends up being a cycle over and over and over again. And then they convince you that a conservative white man, Donald Trump, whoever it may be, is the enemy. You need to hate him. You need to spend all your extra time that you have instead of strengthening your family out there in the streets protesting Donald Trump because he's a racist, when it's proven he's not, but it's proven that Biden is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like what? Like, I'm just like, I could have swore I see Donald Trump with nothing with Black people in all these photos. I could have swore Donald Trump has over 200 rap songs about him. I could have swore that Donald Trump has no, it's true. It's true. Look it up. Wow. No, look it up. If I need to put the compilation out, but it's a compilation like 200 songs of rappers saying, I want to be like Trump. 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 Over the years, there is. I have another Billboard hit called "Let's Go Brandon." Everybody wants to be like Trump. Period. Does that say that anybody's perfect or he's perfect or he hasn't done stuff? Everybody's done stuff. Whatever. I'm not saying that. But the fact of the matter is, things that they're saying about him is not true. Like, he actually is the reason why I went viral. So I did a diss about Biden, and he shared me on Twitter, and it got 8 million views. He shared me, yeah. So that's the reason why, Trump himself shared me. So which is crazy to even think about. I'm like, I'm rapping, and he shared me, but I'm just like, I just judge the person by like the fruits and like what happened. Like, has Trump done anything bad to me? No. Have I seen him do anything bad to other Black people? No. Have I seen and heard other, our president Biden do stuff? Yes, he made black people walk to school. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. He's done all types of racist stuff. He's locked up people for, remember how he's saying this amount of drugs, this and that, lock them up. But like his son, do you see his son locked up? You know what I'm saying? Like, so to answer your question, I went off on a tangent, but like to answer your question, it's because government programs in this country was not set up for black people. That's a fact. And they keep on doing that, and they keep on distracting black people with drug. And we need to talk about it candidly. I feel like some white conservative person needs to slap a white liberal like, shut up, stay out their business. Like, no, that's what I feel like that. Shut up. Like, why? No one cares. Nobody asked you. Like, stay out their business. Nobody asked you to be in their business. Like, that's a fact. Like, that's what needs to happen. Like, shut up. And then they'll be like, whoa, because I've seen conservative white people and I've seen liberal white people, and I'm pretty sure y'all could take them. Because conservative white people have guns, are in shape. You know what I mean? I've seen them, y'all could take them. Y'all need to do it. That's the question. White people need to, that's the answer. White people need to tell those other white people to shut up and stay out of black folks' business and let them be thriving. Listen, black folks never wanted a handout. Look at Black Wall Street. Look at all these times where we tried. At 1950, 60, if you, I don't know if you guys remember as kids or whatever, but like, black folks were flourishing. They were actually the number one black folks were the number one family. Number one family. What happened? They got in our business and said, no, this is the better way, or here's some drugs, or here's this, or here's that, or lock up the dad or whatever. We were minding our own business, dressing nice, dressing sharp, and then then they disrupted all that. If you noticed it, what did we look like in the 50s and 60s?
Right.
What did we look like? We look like money, suits, and all that stuff. And what they show on the media, they show us and they make it seem like we're gangsters and thugs today. That's not true. We dress sharp.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a book that everybody should read called Chasing the Scream. Chasing the Scream.
Chasing the Scream.
Chasing the Scream. And it's the history of how the government set all this stuff up to set up black people and take away their power.
Absolutely.
So it's the history. It's the history of it's shocking. Probably it's unbelievable that this was all intentional. So if people want to read the background and the history, Chasing the Scream.
And what I'm saying, and that's a great book. And what I'm saying is that I'm not saying, and I want to be clear with this, I'm not saying that like, blame anybody or we're the victim, because things happen, whatever. A lot of people today didn't do it. We get that. But I feel like people need to stand up and be strong and stop blaming people for people who didn't do anything, and also take accountability as well. And then also stay out of other people's business. One of the best advice that I've ever got was from older black man. He just recently passed away, but his name is Richard Overton, World War II vet. He was 108 when I met him.
Wow.
And I said, how do you live so long and stuff like that? He's like, oh, I just mind my own business. If everybody, think about it, if everybody mind their own business, I think we'd be okay.
Yeah, you're right.
I think, hey, this is my family. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to go to work, bring the food back, make sure everybody's fed, mind my own business. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Okay, cool. I'm going to go to my house. You go to your house. We're going to mind our business. Hey, I'm going to take my kids to school. Teacher does what she's supposed to do. Just teaches what she's supposed to teach and minds her business. Hey, did you teach our kids anything different? I sure did. Okay, cool. See you tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like if everybody mind their business and stuck in their own lanes, that's why like me, even today, like I tell myself to mind my own business. I'm not an end all, be all, or know all. I know my expertise comes in the military advocacy space. And also being a black man in that space. So I know the black community and all that stuff. So I stay in my zone and in my realm. Yes, I'm American. Yes, I'm patriotic, but I stay in my own lane and I mind my own business, like the old man told me. And I feel like if everybody mind their own business, it would be okay. But everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they need to do. So the answer is people minding their business and sticking to what they know and moving forward and moving into the future. And also, I don't think that we need to remove history. We need to read more books. We need to teach more. That's another thing. They say that, unfortunately, they've been taking a lot of history and stripping a lot of history away because they're like, it's ugly. Well, we need to see it. We need to know what not to do, first of all. And they are convincing people today that education is racist,
Right.
especially math. And I'm like, how is math racist when it was created in Africa? like I'm just like, so how is it racist to yourself? First of all, like there's so many different things. So it's crazy. Like people aren't doing their research. They're not reading where things are created. Because I said when that came out, I was like, hold up, let me retract. I'm just like, they're like early traces is from over there. Like, and I'm just like, okay, well, how is it racist? Like, I don't get it. And I really don't understand how education is racist, how reading is racist. They say if you don't want somebody to know something, really, you put it in a book. Have you heard that? If you don't want somebody to know something, you put it in a book. I was actually told in LA, because imagine me, a black man walking around with my flag jacket, right? And everybody's looking at me like an enigma. They're like, what's going on? Like, I know he's black, but like I dress like a punk rocker, and then I have this American flag jacket, right? And they're like, what the heck's going on? And then I had an old man come up to me. He's like, and he was talking to me or whatever. He's like, you know they're gonna want to kill you, right? He's all, you're like America's worst nightmare, an educated black man. They're gonna kill you. Like that's what he told me. So, wow. And I'm just like, dang. I mean, and usually think about it. Anybody who's been an educated black man, they've been killed. Anybody who's tried to do anything big. Like, think about it. Anytime somebody's tried to do something bigger, they've always tried to destroy them. You can go back to like, even though Kanye talks crazy, think he's trying to make sure that clothing was affordable, housing is affordable. Bill Cosby, he has his other issues, but he was trying to buy that network. Tyler Perry, I don't know how he's doing it, but he kind of escaped it. But he's also dresses like a woman, so it's kind of like they let him get away with it. Right. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like any Malcolm X, MLK, like all this, like anybody who tries to be like, regardless of how you feel about him politically or whatever, like Obama. That's why he stayed like safe. Like he was like, I'm going to be safe, no scandal, because who knows what's going to happen to me? Like everybody knows that. Like they don't want educated. Because think about it. You have somebody who's genetically predisposed and also literally, we are the strongest of the strongest. If you're a black man today and you survived, you're the product of a strong slave. So like, if you're from America, like I am, like,
but is that racist to even say that anymore?
I don't care.
You know, that used to be kind of a belief.
Have you heard my music?
That used to be a, kind of a standard belief that black men were admired because they were strong. And the logical reason was because they were like genetically tailored to be really strong. Yeah, and that's unfortunate and tragic. But then it became this thing that if you said that was, terribly racist and offensive. And so I just was checking that out to see if it.
No, it's a silver lining type of thing. And I mean, I always look for silver linings and things like that. I feel like it's a read the room type of situation too. You don't want to go, hey, I'm Christine, and I hear that black people are strong. Like, you don't want to jump in the room and say that. But if we're having a conversation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me, I'm very open. And like I said, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer, I'm a lyricist and all that type of stuff. So I've dealt with all types of personalities, country people, city people, all that type of stuff. And I'm not easily offended. They even say Marines are called leathernecks because we have tough skin and stuff like that. But like when it comes to just being honest and saying straight up things, I feel like we need to just say it flat out, because I feel like people are too scared these days to say and speak their minds. I feel like we're under attack in so many different ways, even comedy, right? Mm-hmm. They're attacking comedy. Now comedians can't say stuff. You go to a comedy show because you want to hear somebody say something inappropriate. That's why I want to go to a comedy show. I want you to say what we're not supposed to say and stand up on the stage and look around and watch everybody else laugh. You know, true. I feel like that is what is under attack. When they keep on attacking free speech, freedom of speech. My shirt, my hoodie right here says freedom, because that's what I believe in. I believe in free speech. I believe in freedom. And I feel like everything is under attack, especially our freedom. And it's ridiculous. And I feel like that more people need to be brave and be like, hey, listen, I don't mean any offense by it, but that's what I said, and I'm sticking by it. And I believe it's a compliment. You know what I mean? Like, like that's, you just have to put your foot down. It's like, if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. And most of the people, I'm just like, man, most people are all scared and stuff. Be like, hey, listen, you don't like me? Fine. There's 8 billion people in the world. Go find another one. Like, right. You know what I mean? You don't like me? Fine. I don't care. Yeah. So if somebody doesn't like you, it is what it is. So it's like, but the point is, you're not supposed to like me. I'm supposed to fulfill my purpose and fulfill my calling. And if you like me, that's a plus. But I'm supposed to, if I'm a parent, I'm supposed to protect my kids. If I'm an activist, I'm supposed to activate, I guess. Is that what you call it? Activate. If I'm activist, I'm supposed to activate. If I'm an activist, I'm supposed to activate minds, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm a mom, I'm supposed to mother. If I'm a speaker, I'm supposed to speak. If I'm a writer, I'm supposed to write. If I'm an author, I'm supposed to author. You know, I'm supposed to read, things like that. So like, I just feel like people are being too sensitive these days. I feel like they're being weak. I feel like they're being scared. I feel like they're being programmed to not speak up and speak their minds. And when you're programmed to be scared of other people, if you're scared of other people, you think you're going to go against the government? Mm-hmm. Think about that. Mm-hmm. You think you're going to go against politicians? You think you're going to go against other community members? You think you're going to go against another white liberal who's trying to tell a black man what he should do? No, you're going to be scared. Mm-hmm. Yep. So imagine this. When you go to the gym, when you work out, right? Day 1 sucks. Day 2, better, more condition. So when you pick up that 50-pound weight, it's not as hard to do, right? Mm-hmm. When you first start reading, you're like, the fox and the hound, right? But as you start, when you keep on reading more, you say the fox and the hound, right? Then you read a book, then another book. Then you have 20 books under your belt, right? Everything becomes easier. If you're scared to speak to one person, are you going to be strong to speak to another? That's the same, that's like the same analogy. No, you're not. They're trying to condition us to be weak and condition our kids to be weak. So when it comes to that, whatever you want to call me, whatever you want to say I'm this or that. I've been called all types of names, so I'm just like, whatever. I don't care. Like, they're like, people call me a name today. I'm like, man, you got to be more creative than that one. I heard that one. I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? I was like, that's old school. That's a throwback. Is it Throwback Thursday? I was just like, okay, you can call me that. And then I checked the scoreboard. Then I checked the statistics. I'm like, so I got 3 degrees. I went to 2 wars. I served my country. And I'm still working to this day. I don't have to work. I'm retired from the military. I have to work. I'm just like, and I consider the source. I'm like, and you called me that. And what do you do? Okay, cool. Have a great day. Like, whatever. I was like, you can call me whatever you want to call me, but I know who I am. I have the self-confidence within myself. I always want to, I don't know if you've ever heard this. Maybe you've heard it in a different way, Christine. I'm interested in what you have to say of this because I know you're a reader, right? Right. I could tell. But I like to practice the art of, if somebody says thank you or F you, what that means is this. I'm like a train. No matter what anybody says, I'm still going to my destination. They could be like, thank you. All right, bye. They could be like, F you. Okay, bye. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to do what I was supposed to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They could say, oh, Christine is this. Okay, cool. Christine's that. Okay, cool. Elizabeth says, okay, cool. Passengers are still going to get on and get off, and I'm going to still head head to where I need to head. So if you remember that, if you say, hey, I'm still a train going to my destination, then you're going to be all right. This person is just some noise outside, like, you know?
Right.
It's true. And I know both Elizabeth and I have stories that we can tell about just what you were talking about. So I absolutely can relate to that.
Let me hear one. Can I hear an anecdote, Christine?
Yeah, sure. I live in a rural area in Colorado, and I go to a really small church. And word got out that I wrote a book about bias against conservative students in higher education. And there were a lot of people in my church that got really upset with me, and I kind of became sort of an outcast because of it. And there's only 100 people that go to this church. So it was kind of impactful, right?
Wow. Did you feel alone?
Yeah, I felt kind of stabbed in the back because it's church. And because I'm standing up for kids that are getting bullied and picked on, like you were talking about, getting put in a trash can, maybe not literally, but they're being shut down and compromised in this environment. And that these Christians were so biased that they didn't even want to stop and consider what it was I was talking about.
Wow.
They just heard it was conservative and that was it. But you're right. I was the train and I went on and I said, oh, well, I got a job to do and you guys don't care. So, oh, hell. But what about you, Elizabeth?
Well, so about the recording, I'm getting a notification saying that producer mode is not recorded. So I might not be recording, just to put that out there.
Okay.
But for me, it's being with Moms for Liberty. The hate that we get, the people living rent free. Oh my gosh. But we still do it. Like we had our summit in Philadelphia this summer and there were protesters outside and we still continued to do what we were doing inside. We still had our meetings and our people talking and all that stuff. And
hold up, let's do this. What I'll do is I will, just so you have it, I'm going to record it and I'll send it to you guys. I'm screen recording this so I could send the thing to you as well. So if whatever we lost from that point, this is screen recording. Okay, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
So Elizabeth, you were saying what?
Yes, Moms for Liberty. We are constantly told to stop doing what we're doing. There's even a Stop Moms for Liberty group. So being told to stop doing something, we're helping people. We know we're helping people. We're changing lives. And that's what we're meant to do. That's our calling. And I'm not going to stop because one person is telling me what you're doing is wrong. Okay, move on. Do something else for yourself. I'm not going to stop helping the kids. I'm not going to stop being a part of Moms for Liberty because we're making a difference. We were in Philly over the summer for the summit. There were people outside protesting. We didn't cancel the summit. There were actually people who emailed and called the hotel and asked them to not host us.
Wow.
And the hotel was like, no, we're not canceling them. And we treated the people that worked there, the staff, they were fantastic. They were amazing to us. And we treated them with respect in return. If they went outside for a lunch or to leave and those protesters were out there, they were not treated nice. They were treated horrible. They had to be escorted to their cars, walked down the road, but there were police forces and everything that were there to help us because they weren't nice. But we kept doing it and we're still here. So
but like the thing is, it's like anything worth doing, if you're not receiving any pushback on it, is it worth doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like if you're doing something and nobody cares, if you're doing something and nobody cares, that means it's not impactful enough. But when you're doing something and you've received all this pushback, or I hate this, okay, cool. But you need to have some type of motion left or right on it. It's like either, some pushback or either somebody is validating it and saying, hey, keep on doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you need to feel alive, you know?
Yeah.
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 You're right.
And that it can't be a situation to where it's like, oh man, this is bland, or I feel like numb, or I just feel like I'm going through the motions. It has to be exciting. It has to like scare you.
Right.
Like if you don't do something that scares you, it's a problem.
It's true.
So as I said, like, remember how Christine, I was telling just really quick, as I was saying that, you know, I'm a lyricist and stuff. So I love writing, right? Last 280 days, I've been doing something that scares me. And so I freestyle every song that I do, and I do a song every single day when I wake up. And I've been doing it for 280 songs because I thought my best ability. Oh, thank you. I felt my best ability was writing, but if you freestyle, which is impromptu, you know, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen Whose Line Is It Anyway or whatever, but it's called, you know, when you go straight off of the head. So I'm coming up with a song on the spot, and it's called freestyle. It's called freestyle rapping. And so like I do that because it scared me. And the first one was so hard. And then as the weeks went on, it got even harder because I wanted to just give up. I want to give up every single day because I don't want to do this. but that makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel like, oh, I should give it that resistance. And once I do, like, especially when I'm feeling like I don't want to do it, I end up coming up with my best content. And I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to, you know, what Elizabeth was saying about how she fought back or whatever. That, you know, who knows what type of lives and minds and hearts she touched during that time because they pushed back.
Yep, that's right. Well, we're about ready to wrap. Not rap.
Okay.
Rap. I don't rap.
All right. Okay.
No.
Okay. I was about to say, Christine, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Wrap up. I couldn't even. You, Elizabeth, you give a rap.
Y'all don't want to hear that.
Ray, thank you so much. This has been inspiring. Your experiences have been amazing, and you know, your courage to share and to do the things you do, to wake up every day and keep, you know, fighting the good fight is really an inspiration to everybody. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I thank you for having this platform too, because I know it's not easy to do that. And so, like, you know, we're rooting for you to keep on doing what you're doing, especially for the students and you know, the scholastic world.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Raymond, TMR, the Marine rapper, none of them are wrong. And
All right.
if you can't see it, you at least got to see it. So that's
great.
I washed it and I hung it up so that it wouldn't get dirty. So.
Okay. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Thank you. I think that, you know, he just would be such a great speaker because for young adults and teenagers and youth, because he has such an amazing wealth of experiences. But I think what he describes is patriotism, that you can be proud to live in this country because no matter who you are or where you come from, you can be anything you want. And that's what freedom is. That's what freedom is supposed to be, is that.
Exactly.
And that's what we're getting screwed out of by this, you know, ridiculous, gigantic government and all the Marxism that has seeped into our schools and the corruption. And I loved his message that we all need to fight back and we all need to be brave. And I say it all the time. I'm wishy-washy. I'm middle of the road. I don't like to make waves. If you look up in the dictionary of somebody who just is like, no, I don't want to say anything that's gonna. My picture would be in there, but I am so pissed off about what's going on that I've had to find some courage. I've had to find my voice, and that is why I want to speak up for the people who haven't found their voice yet or haven't been able to speak up yet, because this is so important and every day matters. Every day, something else is freaking being taken away from us. And I'm mad.
I'm the same way. I was the same. I didn't vote for the first time until 2020 because I just felt like everybody, I said, give me a candidate worth voting for and I will vote. And after seeing Trump in office for 4 years, I was like, my life is good. Everything is affordable. Everybody is going on vacations. Everybody is just happier. And like the man or not, everybody has to admit that it was better when he was in office, especially versus now. So in 2020, I signed up, registered to vote, and
here you are. You're an activist now.
Trying to help. It's hard. It is so hard because there are so many people that they don't want to stand up for anything. They're afraid of losing friends and family. I've lost so many friends and family in the last 3 years, and I'm okay.
Too.
I'm okay with it.
Me too.
I don't let anybody go if they can be civil to disagree. I have no problem disagreeing with somebody. I have no problem having different beliefs or anything else than anybody else. But as soon as you cross that line and you become rude and mean and hostile, I'm walking away from you. I'm happily walking away from you because I don't need that and my kids don't need that. I'm not putting my kids through that kind of stuff. So if you're going to be disrespectful to me, I'm not even going to put you in a position to be disrespectful for my kids. So I'm okay with the people I've lost because that's how far they took it. I didn't take it that far. That's where they chose to take it. And I am very okay with that part.
Wow. Well, this was really a fabulous, fabulous interview. It went long, and I kept thinking, well, this is so good. I can't.
I don't want to stop.
No. So this is long, and I really hope that the audience gets a lot out of it, and that everybody really gets a lot out of it. It's terrific.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked out the Marine rapper, Raymond Lott, TMR, check out his music. Check out he's got Instagram. He's more on Instagram than he is on Facebook, but he does also have a Facebook. And his music is on YouTube. So go in, type him in, and go back as far as you want. The song that he had mentioned, that was one of the first songs after The Patriot that I had listened to. And I've got it. It's on one of my workout playlists.
Wow.
So they're good. And his songs are okay to be played around kids. He doesn't say anything in them that is explicit. He has older songs that are, but his newer stuff, my kids love the songs. He has one that he did with another gentleman. He goes by Kill Will on Instagram. And they ask for it every time we're in the car. Can you play that song? Can you play that song?
Wow.
So they're fine to play around kids. They have great music. So,
that's great. That is really, really good to know. And if anybody is looking for that book that I mentioned earlier, Chasing the Scream, I have it over in my bookshelf. I'm not going to run and get it right now, but I could show you. It's really eye-opening and it's tear-jerking. It made me cry that what we have done, it was intentional. And it also shows how corrupt the federal government is. And like he said, this was way back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. It's been going on. So read that book and read Student Voices Silenced, my book. That is the book that tells firsthand stories of bias against conservative students in higher education. And especially right now where we see what's going on campuses, where protests are running amok, they're out of control, and administrators are just letting it happen. This book tells why and what goes on behind the scenes. So also read the book.
Yes, it's fantastic. I have it.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
That's it for today.